Hey, what's up, Go High Levelers, and welcome back to another tutorial. In this video, we're going to set up a calendar system for our yoga studio where we can automate the booking process based on different factors like business availability, instructors availability, as well as the services and inventory. So let's take a look at this example right here. Now, in this example, I've tried to replicate the structure of a yoga studio. So firstly, we have some yoga instructors. Then we have two rooms. One is designated for yoga beginners classes, and then the other one is for the sound bath. And then we have the services that I've just mentioned. And then for the inventory, because for the sound bath, we're going to need singing bowls. So we have an inventory for that. And then for the beginners class for yoga, we have some floor mats and we have added that to the inventory as well. So keeping the structure in mind, we're going to create a calendar system that tracks all of these aspects and lets the customer book without any hassle. So let's jump into Go High Level and see how we can set it up. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is head over to settings and we're going to add in our staff or yoga instructors. So I'm going to click here, then add in my first instructor, and then I'm going to head over to user permissions, disable these settings, and then under user roles, we will just make sure that they are a user. And under user availability, I'm going to choose the timings Monday through Friday, and it's going to be 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and that will be copied to all the other days. And then we're going to hit save. And in a similar way, we will add in the second yoga instructor. So we have their name and email here. Then similarly, we're going to head over to user permissions, disable the settings option, make them a user here. And then for user availability, we will do a different timing than the first one. So for this yoga instructor, let's say we want to do 1 p.m. through 5 p.m. And then we'll copy this to all the other days and then hit save. And now we have two yoga instructors added for our location. Once we're done adding our staff members, let's head over to calendars on the left side. And then we're going to head over to rooms and let's add the first room here. So we can call this studio room 1. And let's say we want to use this for yoga classes only. And for total capacity, we can say, let's say it can host up to 25 people. So let's select that and create. And in a similar way, we're going to create one more room. So let's call this studio room 2. And this would be for singing bowl or slash sound bath activities. And then it can host up to 20 people. And then let's hit create. Once the rooms are added, the next thing we're going to do is set up the equipments or inventory. So we'll select this first one here, which is going to be the floor mat. And this would be for yoga classes. And let's say we have total mats capacity of 15. Out of service quantity, we can say 2. Let's create the first one. And in a similar way, we're going to add in the singing bowls as well for sound bath. And for this one, we can say, let's say we have 12. And we'll do the same out of service quantity and hit create. And now we have the rooms as well as the equipment set up. So if we go back to our diagram here, you can see that we have added the inventory and then we have these two added as well. Staff we already created. So now let's go ahead and create the service calendars for beginners class as well as the sound bath. So I'm going to head back to Go High Level. We'll go to calendars and then click on create calendar. And the category for this one would be the service calendar. So the first one we're going to call beginners yoga class. And then we can add in a description like this one here. And then we're going to select the staff members that can instruct this class. So I'm going to select both of these instructors, then add in a custom URL. And for the service duration, we can select the time that best applies to this. And then for the booking availability, I'm going to keep this Monday through Friday. And it's going to be 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. And then we're going to click on advanced settings to go through a few more things. So if you scroll down, you can see that we don't have a group set up yet. So we can map this later on. I'm going to head over to availability, just go through these settings real quick. So here we have the availability for this service. And for the service duration, we can also add in a preferred time just to make sure that the next class doesn't start right away. You can also add minimum scheduling notice and date range if you need to. Then under forms and payments, you can enable prepayments. And then for notifications and additional options, we will just choose to notify the contact as well as the assigned staff for each booking or appointment. And then we're going to head over to customizations. And here we will just add in an image. You can also proceed without it, but if you choose to add an image, I think it will make the calendar really professional. So I'll just add one that I have here. And after that, you can also customize a few things. And finally, we're going to head over to rooms and equipment. And here we're going to select Studio Room 1 because this would be for the beginner classes. And for the other services calendar, we can choose the other one. So with this room selected, let's head over to equipment and then we're going to select floor mat because this is the equipment we need for this service calendar because it's yoga class. So floor mat is the best available option. And once this is done, we're going to hit save and we have our first service calendar ready. Now, in a similar way, we're going to create our second calendar. I'll just duplicate this to save some time. So if we duplicate this, the second one we need to create is for the sound bath. So let's go back here, name this sound bath, then add in the new description. And then for availability, we can customize it. Let's say it only starts at 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then we can copy this to all the relevant days. Once this is done, we're going to head over to customizations. I'm going to remove this image and then add in another one which is more relevant for this service. Let's head over to the next step, which is rooms and equipment. And for this one, we're going to choose Studio Room 2 because that will be utilized for this service only. And for equipment, we're going to select singing bowls so that this is the relevant equipment for the sound bath class. So let's go ahead and click save. And we have our second service calendar ready as well. Now, the next thing we're going to do is head over to groups and add in a new calendar group. And we're going to call it Relax and Rejuvenate. And as you can see on the top, the groups can really help you effectively group different services together. Again, we just have two for this example, but if you add in some more services, you can group them based on what kind of service they are. So let's say if there's a yoga class for beginners, and then there's yoga class for people who already do it. So you can have 2-3 different service calendars and then group them under yoga. And then let's say if you also provide like retreats, you can create service calendars for those and then group them under retreats. So that is how groups can really help you. So for now, we're just going to group the two services that we have under this group. I'm going to name it. I'm going to add in a description, then add a URL and then hit create. Now, once the group is created, we'll head back to the calendars and then we're going to click on the three dots, move to group. And then here we'll move the service calendar to this group, hit select. And now you can see that under group, we have this one selected. In a similar way, we can move the other one as well. So let's just go ahead with that and hit select. And now we are done grouping both services calendar together under Relax and Rejuvenate. Now, if we head back to the groups and click on the three dots and copy the link, and when you open it, it would look something like this. So it gives you an option to book any of these two services. Now you can share this link with your customers. They can go here and book a service, choose a staff member and availability, but there's one more option which can let you book multiple services at once and gives you some more advanced options. So we're going to go back here and then click on this blue button here, then add in a few details like the name, description, and URL. And then if we head over to additional options, this is where you can customize a few things like you can choose to enable guest, multiple service selection, as well as the staff selection as well. Now, these are options that you can only enable in the service menu and not the group that we had to look into earlier. So I'm just going to keep all of these on for now. Then we're going to select the services where this service menu should work. So I'm going to select all of these, but you can customize if you need to. And then arrange your services is really applicable when you have multiple groups and then multiple service calendars under that. Since you only have one group, so we're just going to go ahead and click save. And then we're pretty much done with the setup. Now let's click on the three dots against our service menu, copy the permanent link, and I'm going to open it to see how the finished product looks like. So once this opens up, you can see the service menu in action. We have both the services here. And again, with the images, it looks really professional. So let's go ahead as a customer and make some tests. So let's say I want to book a beginner's yoga class. I'll click on book. And then let's say I also want to bring a friend with me. Now, if you want to add different services, you can click here. And then for the first guest, let's say I want to choose the beginner's yoga class and guest 2 only wants the sound bath. So I can choose to do that as well and then hit confirm. And then you can also select a relevant staff member if you need to. If you don't do that, it would select any staff available at the time that you were selecting. Now, just say for testing purposes, we go ahead and select a staff member. And I'm going to select Tina, for example. Now, if we go back to the staff availability, we'll see the availability for Tina. So if I scroll down and then head over to Tina's availability, we can see that Tina works from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m., Monday to Friday. Now we'll see how that affects the calendar. So we have Tina selected for beginners yoga class. For sound bath, we have any staff available. I'm going to click on hit confirm. And now you'll see that the availability we have is based on a few factors here. So number one, it is based on the combination of both the services availability as well as Tina's availability, because we cannot book a time after 12 p.m. as Tina does not work after that. To test again, we can go back and then let's say we don't go with Tina and we select Lisa, for example. Now, if I hit confirm, you will see that the available slots we get are after 12 p.m. now because Lisa is working 1 p.m. through 5 p.m. So the slots have changed based on the staff member we selected. This is why this calendar system can be really helpful because then the customer will not have to call them up and ask for a specific instructor's availability and then select the time accordingly. So this takes a lot of friction out of the process. Now I'm just going to select a time here, click on continue, then add in my information and then click on schedule appointment. And that is pretty much it. We have successfully created an appointment for two different people with two different services that they're interested in. If you want to replicate this model to other industries, it's pretty straightforward. You'll have to follow the same process and principles, and that way you can remove friction from the booking process for any kind of business out there. That is it for today. Thank you for watching.